This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about obstacles, those darn obstacles in our life, and how can we get around them, over them, under them, beyond them. Believe it or not, it is possible, but it does take motivation, which is what we're all about here at the show. And so we're going to be talking about ways in which you can get around, past, over those obstacles in your life. Now, every challenge is going to come with its various levels of, I should say, critical depth. What I mean by that is, obviously, if somebody has a flat tire, that's an obstacle in one's day. If someone is fighting cancer, that's a different obstacle. So we have to be sensitive to these challenges that we face, and some are going to require more time, more resources than others. So we'll be discussing that as well. If you do have questions, definitely call into the show. The number to call in is 800-333-0001. We're going to be having a inspirational interview coming up in our next segment with Ali Gomie. She actually has had cancer, not just once, but twice. And she shares with us her intimate journey and through chemotherapy and just the ins and outs of that struggle. So stay with us to hear that. Also, if you have any questions about today's show, I definitely want you to feel free to email us. The email address to connect with us at is connect@livingfullout.com. Connect@livingfullout.com. Plus, we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to know if you have, any inspirational thoughts or action steps that you took from today's show or any of our previous shows, or if you feel that you have an inspirational story that you'd like to share that would serve as a good role model for our audience, we'd like to hear from you. The thing about obstacles that is so important is that we have to know that whatever the challenge is, that with resources, with support, with creative thinking and putting strategy into it, you can overcome these obstacles in your life, even when they're as tricky or as sensitive as cancer, which Ali Gomie will share with us in our next segment. But we're going to go to the phone lines now and check in with our callers just to see what challenges they're currently facing. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can I help you?
I was just having a struggle with where I usually go to the store and buy things that usually I don't need. So usually, I waste money. I waste too much money, and I'm trying to see ways that I can save money.
You know what? There's a lot of people nodding their heads saying, I waste money too, right? We've all done it. Yeah. We've all done it. We've all bought that shirt that still has the price tag on it that we've never worn.
Yep.
Right? We've all gone to the store and we've bought that healthy bag of salad, and gosh, we never got to it, never opened, went to waste, right?
Yeah.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
So first of all, whatever feeling you're having around this, like feeling burdened or feeling disappointed in yourself, I want you to let that go because we've all done it, okay? Now, what you want to look at, though, is if you were to save money and not spend it frivolously, what are you saving for? Is there something down the line, a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, a dream that you have for yourself, a financial goal?
Yeah, to buy a house.
Okay. And that's going to cost a little bit of money, right? Now, a lot of times you can get a loan, but you need to put a down payment. You have the cost of buying the home, furniture for the home. So I'm so glad that you have a big goal. And when do you plan on buying this house? When would you like to buy the house?
Once I finish college and have like a stable job.
Okay. So when do you finish college?
Finish in 1 more year. So we're looking about like 3 years from now.
Okay, so 3 years from now. And what do you think the market rate is of a house that you would buy where you live now? How much do you think that would cost you?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
like, I have no idea how much are the houses though.
Okay. Well, actually, that's a great answer. So here's the thing. You want to figure that out now. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to figure out how much that house is going to cost you. You might even want to meet with a local realtor and find out, what would all the costs be involved in buying a house? What am I really looking at? And let's just say that's 300,000. I don't know, wherever you're located here in the country. But let's say it's 300,000. Then you have to look at how much you're making, or even if you could, look into the future at what potential job you might get, what would that salary be? And figure out, okay, gosh, wow, okay, we can definitely do it in 3 years, or wow, we're not coming close. Like, we need to really save our money. When you start to put things into more strategy phase and you start to really see numbers, you will not spend money the way you've been spending it. When you really see how much money you need to save, it becomes very real. Like, okay, but without knowing that number, it's easy to spend money carelessly or not even think about buying something you don't need because it's not crystal clear in your mind how much it is that you need to have. Okay? So you want to find out how much is that going to be. And I would personally even inflate the number a bit. Go up a couple thousand for whatever you think it would be. And then look at 3 years from now, how many months is that? Look at how much that would cost you to come up with to have that money by that time. And you'll know right away, wow, I'm in the ballpark, or you'll be like, gosh, I really need to buckle down. And by having that intensity, you're going to be able to overcome this obstacle that you have of spending where you shouldn't be. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And then the exciting thing is, once you buy that house, we can all come to your house for a housewarming.
Of course.
So, that all the fun stuff is around the corner, but you got to be serious with your finances. You got to consider the budgeting. You got to look at that right in the mirror, and whether it's good news or bad news, if you can face that head on, anytime we can face a challenge or an obstacle head on, now we can really deal with it in a real way. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, good luck with that. You'll do great, and keep us posted. Let us know how it goes.
All right, thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So she brings up a great point. That is a financial obstacle. That is, I have this dream. What do I need to do to get there? And are the actions of spending money carelessly today supporting my dream or not supporting my dream? And, she'll find out very quickly when she does her budgeting. Now, for other people, again, like I said earlier, it may be a challenge or an obstacle that's a health condition. We've had people that call into the show that are dealing with autism, dementia, diabetes. I mean, mine is blindness. And the thing is even with a health challenge, that's going to come with the obstacle of getting resourceful, needing support in certain ways. I learned a long time ago that I wasn't going to be able to drive. I stopped driving at 24, and I'll tell you, I'm not 24 now. I've just turned 40. I'm very proud of that. But the thing is giving up driving at 24, from that time till now, I've had to be resourceful. I've had to take cabs, car services, Uber, Lyft, you name it. But that's just the transportation of getting around. What happens when my visually impaired software, my accessibility software stops working, when my computer generally talks to me? What happens on days when it stops talking and I'm looking at this screen that I can't see? At that point, I might need to call somebody or ask somebody to come over and look at my screen and tell me what's going on. When you have a challenge, when you have an obstacle, it's easy to go into the place of woe's me. It's easy to go into the place of, I give up, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, why me? But if you allow yourself to go there, the only person you're hurting is you. You have to stay in the positive. You have to stay in the, you know what, I'm going to figure this out, and if I can't figure it out, I'm going to find someone who can. It's about being resourceful. Now, if you know that somebody in your life is dealing with a challenge, has an obstacle that is really big that they're facing, you might see how you could be of service to them. I have a client right now who called me the other day, and she is going through a divorce. And not only is that emotionally challenging, but she's got her 2 kids, and she's going to school, and she's working. And, you know, the best thing that she got from her support team was people who could watch her child for an hour, or somebody who could, you know, bring her over a meal. That's really been helpful to her. And so you want to think in your life, how can you help another person? How can you be of support to get them around that obstacle or that challenge? Again, coming up in our next segment, we're going to have Ali Gomie, who's going to be talking about not having cancer just once, but twice. And how do you stay motivated when you're faced with that? How do you find your way around to a positive place when it feels so heavy, when it's discouraging? It is possible. You know, one of the things that I learned from this show, actually, from all of our guests that we've had, is the need to be resilient. When your back is against the wall and you feel like options are few, or maybe no options at all, I want you to really ask yourself, are there really no options? No options? You might say, yes, Nancy, no options. But I don't believe that's true. Sometimes when we feel like we're at the end of our rope, when we feel like our back's against the wall, we have no options, that's when you need to reach out to somebody. That's when you have to jump on the internet and find those resources. We're talking about obstacles today, but obstacles can come in different forms. But I do believe that they can be resourced, they can be delegated, they can be figured out if you're willing to ask for help. So do call in. We'll be taking your calls again at the end of the show. And shortly, we'll be coming up with our inspirational guest, Ali Gomie, and she'll have suggestions and tips for you to also help you live your life full out. We'll be right back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm gonna return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a
Taxi!
233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
Who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really, really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You take your 6-year-old to the playground. You watch her go down the slide, then run over to the swings. Another mother strikes up a conversation. You take your eye off your daughter for just a few seconds. You look back at the swings. And she's gone. Your heart drops into your stomach. You jump up, your eyes searching. You cry out her name.
Lily? Lily?
From the top of the slide, you hear a voice.
Mommy, watch me!
Every parent knows that feeling. Imagine if she were actually abducted. Go to wirelessamber-alerts.org. Sign up for free Amber Alerts on your cell phone. When an Amber Alert is issued in the areas you've chosen, you'll receive a free text message. If you spot the vehicle, the suspect, or the child described in the alert, call 911. Sign up today at wirelessamber-alerts.org. A child is calling for help. This message brought to you by the Wireless Foundation, the U.S. Department of Justice, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. This is the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about obstacles, how we can overcome those challenges in our life, what feels sometimes so hopeless, so disappointing. How do we stay motivated? How do we keep stepping forward so that we can stay healthy, achieve our goals, really live our lives full out? I want to introduce our inspirational guest for today, Ali Gomie. She is honestly just a light in this world because she has not only overcome challenge of cancer once, but twice. And her story is one that's current. I mean, she's still dealing with that today in terms of recovery. And so I'd very much like to welcome Ali to the show.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. How are you today?
Hi.
Good. I'm good. So I might need you to speak up just a little bit, but I can hear you. Anyways, there you are. Yes. Okay. So thank you for being on the show today and being courageous and sharing your story. And courageous is really the word that comes to mind because Ali has been taking all of her friends, families, followers on her journey, on her blog. And so she's documented this over the years. And again, that's where courage comes to mind for you because you're showing people the real day-to-day struggle of cancer, chemotherapy, radiation, doctor visits, waiting, hospitals, on and on and on. So I want you to take our audience back, if you can, to the day when you were, maybe we need a couple days earlier, but really the time frame for which you were diagnosed the first time.
So the first time I was diagnosed, I was actually at Navy boot camp in the Great Lakes. And it was really a shock to me because I've been healthy my whole life, like never even smoked cigarettes, never done anything that would hurt my body. And, I was going, to boot camp and working out every day. And while I was there, I was noticing, my body wasn't performing the best. I wasn't able to bend down and tie my shoe because I would feel it rushing to my head. My face would be swollen every morning. Some mornings I couldn't see. So I went to go see the medical there on base. And it took a few days of testing, actually 3 or 4 days of testing to actually figure out what was wrong. And they had to send me off base to a huge hospital where they did chest x-rays and PET scans, and they knew instantly they could see the cancer in my chest.
Mm.
Yeah.
And what is that? I mean, I can only relate to my blindness, given the day I got my news, and I was really sad. But what is that moment like for you? What is that moment like? Did you have a hunch that you had cancer, or was that a surprise?
I think it's different for every person. But for me, hearing it, I was honestly in shock. I had no reaction. I was just sitting there, I couldn't believe it. It was like watching someone else's life. It was an out-of-body experience. And, a hunch is weird because, honestly, when all this was happening, I just had a feeling. I'm like, you know what? It's probably cancer. And that's such a wild thing to think, so random. And, you never think it's going to be you. But, with all this going on, I'm like, you know what? I think it might be cancer. And it was. So,
And Ali, how old were you at this time?
I was 19.
I mean, literally, your whole world ahead of you, and you were making successful strides in the military. What was the next step at that point? I mean, you find out you have cancer. I mean, do you instantly go into the mode of, healing it? Did you instantly go into radiation or chemotherapy? What was the next step?
So the type of cancer that I have is like actually very fast developing. So they had to start me on chemotherapy right away, like the very next day. And I mean, I was at boot camp, and this is in Chicago. My family lives in North Carolina, and I'm 19, and so I didn't even have any of my family with me, like even before I started my first round of chemotherapy. So I had to start chemotherapy right away, and I think I was so much in shock, and all these different things were happening. I would have like heart monitors on me, and they'd have to give me IVs, and I have all these tubes under my skin. I think really it's like I wasn't even there for it because everything was just happening so suddenly. I wasn't even really aware of all the things happening because it was just so quickly moving, you know, all the chemotherapy and all the medicine they put you on to try to keep you comfortable and not to get sick. It's a lot at once.
You know, it's interesting. You're such again, you're lovely. You're very laid back, you know, but yet driven. but in that moment, I would just be so scared. I mean, I would be so scared, and I don't know. I wouldn't know. You know, what does my life still look like? You know, did you end up going into depression, or were you more like, I'm gonna get over this. I'm gonna do what it takes? Because it's weird, because you have that military mind. You know, you're driven. So, right. What was your kind of attack? Or did you get depressed? Were you kind of like in the wallows of sadness, or were you like, I'm gonna fight this? What was your mindset at that point?
You know, at that point, there's a lot going on all at once. And when it's, you know, your first time dealing with this, not knowing, hey, what even is chemotherapy and what are these drugs you're giving me? It's so much going on at once. You don't even have time to think. Like, I didn't even cry for months until after all this happened, because going through it, you're so focused on, okay, well, let me get through this. You don't have time to actually sit there and think, oh my goodness, like, I just got diagnosed with cancer. You don't even get that time because you're so, you know, busy. So it wasn't actually until like months after when I would be done with chemotherapy where I would sit there and I would cry and I wouldn't believe what had happened to me. So, you know, there'd be times where I would be depressed, but my family, they would know. I mean, I was young, so they would always be there right by my side and very supportive. So they just helped me want to push through and, you know, think that I could do it even more than I already thought I could.
And I know that over the course of your chemo and all the hospital visits, sadly, they all were on like major holidays. And so I'm not sure how that worked out for you. I mean, no one should be spending Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, all that in the hospital, but you were. At what point was the cancer out of your body? How long did that take for you?
It took about 4 months. It was probably in February when they started to see changes and that the chemotherapy was doing what it was supposed to do. And so by April, it seemed to be completely gone.
Could you actually feel a difference in your body from when you felt the cancer in your body to when it was gone? Could you feel that difference, or what was the transformation for you?
It's a little tricky because, you know, that whole time you're on all that chemotherapy and you're in bed a lot of the time, you know? So, I can't say I felt much of a change. I mean, all I was really going off of is what the doctors were telling me.
Mm-hmm. But energetically, even though you'd been through all the treatments, your energy level was still pretty low, still pretty tired, just from everything you had gone through.
Right, exactly.
So after the cancer was out of your body, how long were you healthy before? Because here's the thing, everybody. She didn't just get cancer once, it came back a second time. So how much time did you have before you got diagnosed a second time?
It was only three months. So that's what made it really scary, because they're telling me, hey, it can come back, but it came back in 3 months. If it comes back, it's not supposed to come back that quickly. So it was a little bit scary because that means the chemotherapy didn't do its job.
Mm. How was it diagnosed the second time? Because I think a fear of a lot of people is not knowing they have cancer. Like, you know, yours was stage 2, I believe, but you know, it's like when people go along, they don't know they have it. You know, how did you know you had it a second time? Did it just come up in a visit?
Well, yes. So whenever you are diagnosed once, they try to keep a very, you know, close eye on you to make sure it doesn't come back. You have checkups. You have to do blood work, once a week. You do PET scans and CAT scans every 3 months. So it was actually my very first checkup since I had been in remission. And so my very first one, I went back. I was so excited. Like, my husband even went. He bought me, because I'm married now, he went and bought me a car. He's like, you're going back to work. Let's get you a car. We thought the results were going to be good. Like, we didn't think it would come back. We didn't think it would happen. But after that first checkup, it seemed to pop up on the PET scan.
It's interesting. We've had different guests over the years, everybody having a different tragedy or crisis or challenge. And when you get news like that a second time, did you have the feeling like, I've been here before, okay, let's start this up again, let's do chemotherapy? Was it kind of let's do this, or was it a different level of sadness than you experienced the first time?
I think I was very, very upset. I remember my mom's religious. She went to a Catholic school, so I was having trouble with faith. I've never struggled with faith in my life. But when I had came back a second time, I couldn't believe. I had to go straight to my mom, and I was like, and this is just my belief. I was like, why would God do this to me? Why would he, make it happen again? And I think I struggled harder the second time. I knew I wanted to fight it, but I couldn't understand why it was happening. So it made the process very difficult to want to go back and fight it again, because I didn't want to take a chance fighting it again and then, come back 3 more months later, So it was pretty rough.
And so when was this, when you got diagnosed the second time? What year, what date was that?
It was in October, and it was 2015.
So for everybody listening, I mean, that's very, very recent. I want to, come back, Ali, after this commercial break and, speak with you more about this. Obviously, the journey goes on here. And again, thank you for being so open with us. Everybody, we'll be back with Ali Gomie shortly. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
Hey America, we're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
Enroll! So listen to me, a talking pug, you see. If you get health insurance, preventive care is now free.
So sweet.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options. That's getcoveredamerica.org.
And take care, people!
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
I want to change some things. I want the moms where I live to have childcare they can trust.
I want to make sure my little brother and his friends have a safe place to play.
I want to help more kids graduate from high school.
Help more hardworking families learn how to budget and save.
I want more of my neighbors to have access to health care.
Want to make a difference? There are so many ways you can. Help create opportunities for everyone in your community.
I want to change what I see around here.
United Way is creating real, lasting change where you live by focusing on the building blocks of a better life: education, income, and health.
I mean, I just want to see more smiles on my sidewalks.
Reach out a hand to one and influence the condition of all. Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. For more, visit United Way at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. This is the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about obstacles. And there are so many different ways in which we're going to be challenged in life. And how do we find the motivation? How do we even keep stepping forward? You know, especially when things happen to us not once but twice. You know, if we keep getting punched in the stomach by life, how do you say, you know what, life, I want to live full out? How do you stay positive? The thing is, you can, but you can't do it on your own. You really can't. When I look at all the different guests that we've had over the years, it's really the support team that they've had. And not everybody has a support team, but it can be built. You just have to be open to meeting people that in some ways are facing the same struggle you are, or people that honestly they just want to give to help get you to a better place. There's clients that I have who are dealing with alcoholism, and they go to organizations obviously like Alcoholics Anonymous or Al-Anon, and they get the support they need to stay in a good path, to stay healthy, to not turn to alcohol. And then somebody else might be going through a health challenge like multiple sclerosis, or even me with my blindness. I've developed great relationships with people from like the Foundation Fighting Blindness or the Braille Institute. It's just a matter of saying, you know what, my life is worth it, and I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to let this defeat me. I'm going to regain my life. But it takes support. It takes tapping into the motivation inside you to keep going. Now, our inspirational guest today, Ali Gomie, is a wonderful example of how she is resilient, how she is a survivor. And in not having cancer just once, but having it twice, she gives us valuable lessons in terms of how to stay strong, how to be honest. And honest is the word that comes to mind for me for her, because she has a YouTube channel where she's been documenting her journey. So I'd like to welcome back Ali Gomie. Hello, Ali. Welcome.
Hey.
Hi. So you were just sharing with us that the last time you were obviously diagnosed again with your second cancer was October 2015. And what is the status of your health today?
Well, in January, I did a bone marrow transplant, and then in about March, I did radiation. So I recovered from that about 3 weeks after. So I've been good for a few months now, probably about 2 or 3 months. I've been in the clear. Things have been looking good so far.
So have you now passed the 3 months marker?
I actually have a PET scan tomorrow to check on things.
You do? Okay, so
I do.
Everybody today needs to send positive wishes to Ali, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. And I love that you smile and giggle when you say that, because that's how you tell your body, see, it's going to be good. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to smile. And, Ali, again, because you have been so vulnerable on this journey, how is it that you have been able to stay so optimistic over these years?
I feel like everyone goes through bad things. Like for an example, say your cat ran away, right? And there's no chance of you getting your cat back. You can either sit down and just be miserable, sad and miserable every day about it. But sitting there is not going to make your cat come back. You know what I mean? You have to go out and still be happy and find other things to think about, other things to do. It's the same thing. I can't control what has happened to me this whole cancer journey. There's nothing I could have done differently. So sitting in my bedroom and not getting out of bed and being miserable or making other people feel miserable, it's not going to make the situation any easier or any better for me or for anyone else. So you just have to tell yourself, hey, let's go out and do this. Let's be happy. Let's show people that it's not really as bad as it has to be. You know, you can go out and make it better. And that's why I try to be optimistic, because I want to show others that it could be, everyone it could have it worse. You know, someone always has it better. Someone always has it worse. So go out and be the best person you can be, you know, and just try to be happy, even if it's hard.
I love that. I love that. And, you know, I'm sure over time, like after the first time you had cancer and then those 3 months when you were healthy and then even now, I'm sure people come up to you and say, so what are your plans? What are you going to do? And how does that land on your body these days? How does talking about the future feel for you?
That's honestly the hardest thing about any of this now, because when you go through something like that for a year or for 2 years or for however long, you get used to it. And you're obviously out of work, you're not working, and you're having people help you out here and there. When it's all over, it's weird because you don't really know what to do with yourself. And then you hear people saying, oh, so are you going back to college? Oh, do you want to join the military? Oh, like, what are you doing for work? It's difficult. That's, like I said, that's the hardest thing to think about, because the only way now to go about things is one day at a time. And it's hard for me because I've always been that person to have everything planned out, have a plan for everything. But one day at a time is the only way to go, and I'm still trying to actually figure out for myself what I want to do now, you know? But
that makes perfect sense. I get that. In fact, one of my favorite quotes from Abraham Lincoln is, the best thing about the future is that it happens one day at a time. I mean, that's really all we have. And so when you are doing your blog posts, because I know that's something that's been near and dear to your heart to do over time, what is it that you've been trying to convey to your viewers, or what is it that you're trying to share with people today, you know, during this platform, this interview?
Well, I want to show people, I want to be completely real. I don't just make my blog to make them think, oh, it's not that bad. I want to show the good and the bad, but not only just the bad and not only just the good. I want to let people know that, yes, it's like my experience, you're going to have bad days. It's going to be hard. There's no way around that. And that's what I showed in my blog. I try to show them, like, sometimes in my blogs I'll be crying because I had a horrible week, but I need to show people that everyone has a horrible week. It's not just you. And then I want to, you know, show times when I'm happy, like now, because what else do you have to lose? Might as well just be happy about something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what I try and do.
And I love that. And sadly, somebody will be diagnosed with cancer today. Somebody will be diagnosed tomorrow. I mean, we all know somebody who's had it, has it. My dad had it. He didn't make it. You know, you survived. My mom had breast cancer. She survived. You know, it's just this kind of crapshoot a little bit. But for somebody who is dealing with cancer right now, or somebody who's getting diagnosed today, what advice do you have for them in terms of this journey that you've been on now for a couple of years?
Well, they just have to know that they're not alone, because, trust me, there are still times, like right now, where I will feel like no one understands me. Like no one, oh, they haven't been through it, so they don't get it. Like I always feel that way. But you're not the only one feeling that way. Just know that you have your family and whoever you have, they are trying to understand, even if they don't. You know, there's someone out there, and they also have, I mean, there's organizations out there where you can get in touch with people that have the same cancer as you, and then it makes it a lot easier, because then there is someone who can understand a little bit better what exactly you're going through.
What was the hardest part in terms of, was the bone marrow transplant the hardest? Was the chemo the hardest? Was it just the waiting game? What was the part that just really just got to you the most?
The bone marrow transplant was the worst. Because what they do is, well, there's different types, but the type that I got done, I was actually lucky enough to be my own donor, which is a much safer way of going about it. So what they do is they give you really high-dose chemotherapy, which knocks out all of your cells, all of your red cells, your white blood cells, even your bone marrow. And then that's when they go back in and inject you for the bone marrow transplant with new stuff, new cells, new bone marrow, everything. So I was actually in a hospital bedroom for an entire month, a small bedroom, and it was awful at days. I couldn't eat for like 4 or 5 days at a time. I had to like eat through the tubes where it's not really eating, but it's eating. And, that was really tough. But, the nurses, what's really incredible is a lot of oncology nurses, they do what they do because they know someone who had it. And so they try their hardest to be nice and to help you and to try to do what they can do to their best. And that's what makes it better, is knowing that there are people trying for you when you're not really able to do much for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, does the word cancer today, what does that word mean to you?
And it's tricky because I started making vlogs because I wanted to help other people with cancer. But at the same time, I didn't want to be labeled as, oh, that girl with cancer, And I still hear the word sometimes, and sometimes I feel like it's just a word. It doesn't mean anything to me. But in other ways, it's completely changed my entire life, what I've done with my life and who I've met. Mm-hmm. So that word has actually become very near and dear to me. I think differently about commercials that I see and things that I hear on the radio. It's just, that word used to mean nothing, but now it means literally my whole world,
You know what? I get that, Ali, because I feel the same way about blindness. I'll hear people say, oh, he's blind or she's blind or blindsided or,
Right.
Or I think I was watching politics the other day on TV, some interview, and they said, well, even Stevie Wonder could see that. And I'm like, okay, really? So, you know what I mean? I mean, it's amazing how many times we say the word cancer, or we say the word blind, or we say certain conditions. But I'm always interested in how it feels to you, to me, living with it. But I really want to thank you so much for being on the show today. Again, you just keep doing those videos, but now they're going to be post-cancer, all post-cancer videos, because you are going to go tomorrow and have a great CAT scan. You are.
Right. I hope, hopefully.
You will. Take hope out. You will. You absolutely will. And thank you so much for being on our show. I appreciate that. And we'll all be praying for you. And again, everybody, that was Ali Gomie. Go ahead and check out our YouTube video if you are dealing with cancer or know someone who is. Thank you, Ali, so much for being on the show. And this is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Dimes are shiny and round. Nickels are also round.
This 28-year-old woman may sound a little strange to you and me, but to her 3-year-old daughter, she makes perfect sense.
Pennies are round too.
They are.
When you talk with your child, you build vocabulary, and learning starts long before school does. So follow their lead. Take everyday moments like an errand at the bank and turn them into learning moments.
Dollars are rectangles.
I like dollars.
Turn everyday moments into learning moments. For more tips, go to bornlearning.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
I'm getting a catcher's mitt.
I'm getting ice skates. I'm getting a devastating flood.
Adults are generous. We're even giving kids global warming, but we can still reduce greenhouse gas pollution. Go to fightglobalwarming.com. Brought to you by Environmental Defense, the Robertson Foundation, and the Ad Council.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving?
driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Living Full Out is about overcoming those obstacles in our life, not being afraid of them, not feeling like you can't overcome them. But it's going to take a strong mindset. It's going to take not just hope in your heart, but believing that you can get over that obstacle. And when you can't do it on your own, you want to reach out to someone else, because living full out, we don't do it just ourselves, we do it together.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
All right, welcome back to the Living Full Out show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about obstacles. We're talking about how we can overcome them, how we can stay motivated. And we've talked to several callers today over the show and our inspirational guests, and the theme that keeps coming up is support, getting support. But that's not always easy, especially for some of you who maybe just moved to a city and you don't know anyone, or maybe you're at a place where you feel like you just don't want to go to people. You're insecure, or you don't feel confident that the people will receive your dilemma, your problem, your obstacle in the right way. But I urge you to take that risk. I urge you to step out there and inquire, if not ask, inquire about seeking assistance or resources. Because the thing is when you keep stress inside your body, it will never lead to good things. It's always going to keep you from sleeping well. It's going to sometimes have you overeat or not eat at all. It's going to have you sometimes break out. It might change your moods. And most of all, it could do things inside your body that will cause further diseases. And that's disease is oftentimes referred to as dis-ease in the body. So you want to find a way to limit your stress. And when you're dealing with a challenge or an obstacle and it just seems as if you're running out of answers, that's when you need to turn to other people. At Living Full Out, we have a coaching program that we open up to people. And so I'm only telling you about this because I don't want you to feel alone. If you need support, I want to make sure you give us a call at 310-909-7800. And you can reach out to me personally at extension 101, because I don't want you to feel unsupported. If you can't find the resources, you're not sure where to turn, we will help you. We're going to go to the phone lines now and kind of check in with one of our Living Full Out callers. Welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hi, my name is Natalie.
Hi, Natalie. Nice to hear your voice. What's going on today?
Thank you. Yours too.
Thank you. How can I help you today?
I had a question. I'm going to be a senior in college this coming fall, and so my question was kind of about life after that. Because in the particular field that I'm interested in, there's kind of a variety of paths that you can take and choose from, but my question is, how do I know what's best for me? Because I'm still in school, and this will be kind of looking for my first job in the real world, and how do I know kind of what path to even take?
Well, what is that dream job? What is it that you want to do?
Eventually, I'd love to be be a movie producer.
Awesome. Great. I
Easier
love
said
that.
than done, though.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. Here's the thing. Everyone started where you were once. Everybody.
Right.
Okay? Don't forget that. I say this quite a few times on the show, but I really mean it. You can think of yourself as a small fish in a big pond, or you can say, you know what? There's only one Natalie. There's only, yes, there may be other Natalies in the world, but there's only one you. There's only one person that giggles the way you do, has the creative mind the way you do. And when it comes to being that movie producer, there's only going to be one Natalie that can produce the way that you will produce. And confidence is a big piece of success. So even though you're in school right now and you're kind of honing those skills and you're in the early stage of your career, you kind of have to function as if. They call it the as if factor. So you're already a movie producer. You got to think of yourself as already that. You're just early on, okay? So number one is you got to get experience. You want to try to do everything you can, documentaries, engage with other students, see if there's clubs that you can join. You want to gather as much experience as you can so that you can put together your reel or a resume of things that you've done, even within the hub of school. And then look outside of school. Here in LA, we have many trade publications, Backstage or Variety. There's so many that will give insights to, you know, different projects that you can be on, whether you're on the producing side, whether you're on the, maybe even the acting side, so you can understand both sides of it. You just want to engage. I would also consider shadowing a producer. Now, I realize, again, the top A-level producers might not be taking your call right away, but there's everybody in between, okay? There's everybody in between. So find a movie producer of some kind, maybe somebody who does documentaries. Also, your alumni, people who have gone to your university previously. Where do you go to school now?
Chapman University.
Okay, and that's near LA. I think that's in Orange County area, Orange right? County, yeah. So, yeah. So it's possible that an alumni may be in the industry now that you could reach out to and job shadow. It's another way to get in with them. Another resource, obviously, is LinkedIn. And again, again, nobody got to where they are today just, you know, a snap. You know, everybody had to kind of go the path. But the one thing is when you get to a certain level, granted you're busy, you got multiple projects you're doing, but a lot of people that I know in the entertainment field who are really successful, they do have their, the side where they like to give back, they like to teach, they like to mentor. And I'm sure an email, a call from you, probably to their assistant or agent, but still, might be a welcoming call. Maybe you could just sit in on the set and watch them. Who knows? But sky's the limit of what's possible. That goes back to, are you a small fish or a big fish? What are you?
I'd like to be a big fish.
Okay. So let's change that. I would like to be. I am a big fish. I am a big fish.
I like
That's
that.
right. And you can even choose the kind of fish you want to be. Goldfish. I love eating those, though. Maybe not that one. So here's the good. So laugh, right? Laugh. Don't be so stressed out about this. Have fun with it. If you are going for a career opportunity that is stressing you out, that's not good. That's the first sign of not good.
Right.
But if you have hope in your heart and you have opportunities of plenty ahead of you, which you do, you know, so maybe movie producer is one option, right? You said there's numerous options. Maybe you'll be an agent. Maybe you'll be a casting director. Maybe you'll be a producer. Maybe you'll just jump in front of the camera yourself and someone will go, oh my God, Natalie is so good looking on camera. Let's give her a deal. Who knows? So just don't limit yourself. Okay. You really have to just sky's the limit. And what are you?
A big fish.
You're a big fish. You're a big fish. That's right. Okay. So have fun with it. You got it. Thank you for calling in. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So overcoming that obstacle can be easier when you're a big fish. Not always, but easier. So the thing I want everybody to think about today is, what is it in your life that is blocking you? What is limiting you? What feels like you can't do it? You're not good enough. And whatever that theme is in your mind, whatever is rattling up there, those are called limiting beliefs. Those are not real, okay? Those are things that are holding you back. They don't support your growth. And again, that's true whether you're trying to go after a certain career Or if you're dealing with a health challenge, I could just sit in the woes of Nancy if I were to say, I'm legally blind. I can see a little bit. I'm going to go blind. Blah, 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 blah. I could go on and on about all the negatives of being blind, the scary parts of going further blind. What will my life be like when I'm truly 100% blind? But that doesn't support me, right? It's the same with Ali. It's the same with our inspirational guest that we had on the show today, right? She could say, I have cancer. Oh, gosh, I have an exam, a CAT scan tomorrow. It might come back tomorrow. If she sits in the place of being scared, that's just not healthy. That's not healthy for the body. And that tarnishes her ability to be happy. And everybody who listened to her interview, what was the big thing that meant the most to her? She wants to be happy. And we all want to be happy. And so really think about today, what is that obstacle? What is that challenge? And then from there, think about what can you do to handle that, to manage that on your own. Really write it down. Say, here it is. And maybe on one side, like make a line down on a piece of paper, just one line, and you have 2 columns. On one side, all the things that you're scared about, all the things that you're nervous about, all the things that you feel you can't do on your own. Make that list. But on the other side, I want you to think of strategy. I want you to think of planning. What can you do? If it's about staying motivated, I can listen to motivational audios and books and all that. I can work out maybe to get some energy going and get those endorphins up. I can choose to be around people dealing with the same condition or tragedy or dilemma I am. There's things that you can do and things that you can't. So the things you can do them. Put together a plan of action, start today, but make it, within a reasonable time frame. Don't take everything on at one time. And then for the list of things you can't do yourself, like Ali, our inspirational guest, was talking about, there's organizations that you can turn to give you the resources, to guide you. There's other people that you can connect with. So the main thing is, I really want you to know that anything is possible. You just have to be willing to go out there and go for it. And the biggest thing about living full out is staying optimistic. And knowing that if you hold on to the passion that you have for your life to live full out, you will. If you smile and choose to be happy, you will. All those things are possible, but they all start with you. Now, I want to thank everybody who puts this Living Full Out show together. We have Debbie and Mindy and Stephanie and Rich and everybody in our team who puts together these shows for you so that you can stay motivated from week to week and get the advice and guidance that you need. Again, to hear the replay of this show, go to livingfullout.com, click on our radio show page, and you'll be able to be re-inspired again by this show and others. And again, if you have questions, we want to hear from you. That email is connect@livingfullout.com. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and here's to you living your life full out.